good to see everyone. Welcome to Unscripted Coding. Today we are totally just latching onto the latest craze. Wordle is, of course, a word game that has exploded. New York Times bought it out. And the premise of the game is really simple. You try and guess the 5-letter word, and everybody gets the same word every day. So you can share with your friends, you can figure out, who's the best, who did it in the fewest steps, and so on. Now, if Wordle wasn't challenging enough, there have been lots of copycats, lots of alterations to a game that have spawned from Wordle's craze. The one I've been playing a lot of is which has you try and solve 4 Wordles simultaneously. And I found out very recently that there is yet another variation called Octordle. Pronouncing that wrong, probably, but the idea is you solve 8 Wordles at once. Now, this is all great and all, but what I found really frustrating about just looking at Octordle is the layout. I get it. If you're on a mobile phone or a tablet, it's very hard to show all 8 at once, but I have a full-size monitor. There is no reason why I shouldn't be able to see all 8 side by side. And just to show you, Octordle has managed to do that for a 4 version quite cleanly, so you can see the characters, the variation. And so it frustrates me that the layout isn't ideal. And what we're going to do today is try and see if we can write a bit of code on the console to try and remedy that, to have a display, 8 of them, side by side in a different grid or whatever. But to understand this problem really quickly, let's just very quickly try and solve a Octordle. We're probably not going to succeed, but I've been using stare and guild as my first 2 words. And here we have SIR. There could be shirt, there could be skirt. Yeah, I think those are the big ones, skirt or shirt. So let's find a word that uses both. And I am thinking hike. But that doesn't give us very much, so wick. Wick is that word? Wick. Let's go with wick. Okay, so this one is skirt on the bottom left. And we can solve that one. And here we have rail, frail. And on here, rad, ray, drab, drabs. Okay, you know what? Let's not keep going with this. I had a bit of luck with these 2, and we'll stop at that. But the idea is every green word, you're in the right place. Yellow means you have the right letter, but not the right place, and you try and solve the game. And having all 4 simultaneously presented is really helpful. If I'm scrolling up and down, it's a less pleasant experience. Okay, so first things first, what I think I'm going to do, well, first things first is to take a look and see what the problem is. We have here, these are all tables. That makes perfect sense. And oddly enough, they have set width to 100%. This table, width is 100%. So this, and let me zoom in here. This table width is 100% of whatever container is available. And over here, this container doesn't state what width it should be. Instead, it has an attribute from body that says that the max width is 550 pixels. Why anyone would code that in, I have no clue. But if we just remove that, it's no longer centered. But we are still limited by the width. Okay, so let's go to the parent. Div, I see. So there is some sort of red space over here that is still removing it out. So if we've taken out the width, what if we remove the margin? I can't really tell what that is in the background. I see. So they have decided to use a flexbox, but haven't quite figured out how to have them side by side, because if we remove the flex, it's still 2 at a time. Okay, so we can work with that. What I'm thinking, just off the top of my head, is injecting Bootstrap. And we all know that I love Bootstrap, this web framework, just so that we can take advantage of its columns and resizing really quickly and try and fix this up. But it might even be simpler than that. I'm gonna just try and work my way through and understand what is happening that's causing this and whether it's a deliberate choice. Okay, so we have completely ditched Bootstrap. That was pointless. Turns out how they're doing this is all through tables. They have, and in retrospect, that makes a lot of sense. Each of these are basically tables, and you have the table body, table row, table... I don't know what the D stands for, but you have the columns, and then each... each box is an individual piece afterwards. What it turns out we should be doing is just changing the width. Now, how they've done it on Octordle is probably pretty poor practice. I'm not in the best position to judge. They might be using something that requires it, but they're hard coding everything into the style here. Style with 100%, style with 20%, and it makes it very hard for you to actually change and figure out what's happening. There's no overall classes, there's no centralized place to do it. So what we had to do was go into each of these and basically change the percentages to make them work out. The other piece that's really important is they have this body, which we talked about early on. They have, for some reason, put a max width of 550 pixels. Why anyone would do that makes no sense to me whatsoever. But what we've done is actually go through change each of those elements. So let me just zoom out here and paste our bit of code. It's unwieldy, it's about 50 lines of code, but ta-da, we have it here. If I really wanted to make it look nice, I would try and square these boxes off, but it doesn't really bother me too much. The big problem and the annoying thing about it is as soon as you resize your window in any way, like so, I believe, and this is on a quick glance, I didn't dig deep into it, they have a script to make a box and they redraw the whole thing, and you can see that they have reinserted these percentages for whatever reason completely just locked in, completely, what is the word here that I'm looking for? But they've written it out. It's not a very good way of doing it. And so every time you resize, it seems like they remake the boxes with some of these widths set in stone. I'm not going to bother too much about it. There is I think some people that use this might be annoyed that if I paste it in, they can't close this box off because it will trigger that resize. So what I recommend, if you are using this for fun to actually use it, is to actually minimize the size of this to maximize your real estate screen here. Now, I wonder what happens. Yeah, if I zoom in, same problem. It's resizing. Anyways, we have these right here. And you can start playing, and everything works. So if I do guild as my next choice, we have a working set right here. Now, more importantly, what did we do with the code here? The first step, and I fully admit there's probably a more elegant way of doing this, I withheld from putting jQuery in there, which would have made my life a lot easier. Much more familiar with jQuery. But instead, I just typed it out over and over. There's only 8 boxes, so I didn't think too much about it. First things first, we hit that body piece, that one with the max width. We got rid of the flex display, and we got rid of the 550 pixel max width. We changed each of the width of the box holders. So these are this piece right here. Originally, they were taking up 50% of the space each. So one of these would take 50%, so there would only be 2 every row. Originally, I swapped it to 20. Actually, I don't think it makes a difference if I make it 225 again. So, switch this back to 25. It doesn't make a difference. And the idea is if I reduce it from 50 to 25, I can fit 4 in a row. And potentially, if you really want to go nuts, you could do 12.5 if you have a widescreen monitor, for example. you'll do 12.5 and have one single row, but it makes sense to me to split it up into 2 rows of 4. So 25, 25, 25. Next bit is padding. You can fiddle with the number. I threw out 18 for no good reason, and that will just separate each of these boxes apart. So you can see this is box 1, box 2. When I didn't have the padding, they all kind of mashed together. And I think that's true if you go to Octordle anyways, Octordle.com, that they don't have great separation between the games. It's not well designed, in my opinion. Whereas if you look at Wordle, it's quite clear you have 4 separate games. So we put the padding in there for ease of use. And I'm thinking here you can reduce the you can loop through the boxes instead and get it done much quicker. I don't really mind here. Next bit, I decide to go into each of these boxes and reduce them to 9% width. And that is over here, these buttons individually. In retrospect, I don't think it makes a difference, again, if we do 10%. And in fact, I'm just going to do that now and see what the effect is. Yeah, didn't make a difference. Okay. So the idea, again, is reduce it down. Originally, they were 20% each. Reduce it by half. This will be able to squeeze 2 more per row. All right. Next bit is the hacky pieces here. What happened if you just do this top part is this. They've been reduced to right size. Well, not quite, but they have been reduced in size, but they are still in separate rows. What I'm doing here is I am removing, so I am first identifying boxes 3 and 4. So I'm looking at these two. Boxes 3 and 4 are in that second row, and what I want to do is move them up to the first row. So I identify box 3. I just detach it from its current row, and then I find the row that box holder 1 is in, so box holder 1's parent, and then I insert this box holder 3 or 4, and I do the same thing for row 7 and 8. I move it into the row that 5 and 6 are in. If we just run up to this point, you would have actually a decent enough example. But what I found annoying is all of this blank space. You see, we have a number of empty rows in the middle now that originally held, they originally had some white space, and then there's that empty row that originally had 3 and 4, 7 and 8 in there. So what I've done in those last lines is just go in, query select, and just remove them, moving backwards so that I don't lose track. And so that will get rid of this white space, get rid of this white space, and ideally move this, this keyboard further up so I can see more all at once. And so in total, when we do it all together, you see the following. And I'm just going to move this, see how we look. And there you have it. It's occurring to me that the change in numbers do make a difference. So let me just try something here. Nope. Oh, no, it didn't make a difference. The reason why I have a different sizing is because originally I zoomed out just a tad bit at 75%. And what this will do is give you more verticality. Okay, so there you have it. Everything's still functional. It's not quite perfect. In a perfect world, I'd spend another half hour trying to find out what's causing that resizing issue, so you can close this off. But instead, you're just going to have to live with this incomplete solution like so. And so this will be much more player-friendly than I think moving up and down instead. Hopefully you guys found that helpful. If you enjoy Octordle, let me know. It's been, well, Wordle has been an obsession for me for the last week or so. And yeah, hopefully you guys will find this more fun. I found the idea of 8 Wordles at once really great, but the execution wasn't perfect, so being able to just fiddle with design yourself is always a helpful skill to have. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thumbs up, subscribe, do what you have to do. Thank you.